I was not a very confident person growing up. I was very shy. I was the type of person who would never look into someone's eye when having a conversation. I would never walk into a restaurant and have a meal by myself. I would never go on a run by myself. And right now, I'm the type of girl who can do anything by herself. I can go on a run by myself. I can walk into a restaurant, have a meal by myself, and not care about who is watching me. I can do anything by myself without worrying about what anyone is thinking, how anyone is looking at me. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you how I became this confident person from that shy young girl. Yeah, so this is Njuki's perspective. Welcome to the channel. We talk about self-growth and self-development, especially in our 20s. My name is Maureen Njuki. Welcome to the episode. As I've said, growing up, I was not a confident person. I was very shy, and the fact that I grew up in an environment that had a lot of fear and anxiety, I think my shyness increased. I remember tagging behind my mom's skirt when we would meet with her friends, and they were talking, and someone maybe started a conversation with me. I was so shy. I would not look into someone's eye when speaking. I would bite on my nails. All those characteristics of a shy person. I had them. And as I grew up, I started noticing like the women I admired. For example, there was this teacher in our school. I thought she was really confident and I wanted to be like her. And so I realized I had to become confident if I had a chance of becoming like her. And so as I grew up, I started having coping tools to fake confidence. And I actually managed to fake confidence for the better part of my life. If you know me, you would think, and I think most of the people who know me would describe me as a confident person, but that is not the person that I was. I had become so good at faking confidence, but in deep inside, I was very shy. I was anxious. I was wondering, like, when am I going to be found out as a fraud? And so I realized as I started my self-development journey that this was a foundation built on very fickle ground, and it would come crashing anytime. And so I decided that it was important for me to build confidence from inside out, and it was a very intentional journey, and those are the tips that I'll be giving you on this video. All right, so the first thing that really helped me was something that I had from On Purpose, which is Jay Shetty's podcast. If you don't know Jay Shetty's podcast, you should definitely go check it out. And it was about the spotlight effect. Essentially, the spotlight effect is a psychological phenomenon whereby human beings, we tend to think that everybody around us is uh, thinking about us, is tearing us apart, is thinking about what is she wearing, what hair does she even have. As human beings, we tend to think that we are the center of the universe, and unfortunately that's not true. Nobody is going around thinking about what other people are wearing, how they are talking. People are so busy thinking about themselves. And when I realized this, it gave me a lot of power. And anytime that I walk and maybe, for example, there was a time that I would walk maybe just on the street, and then I hear people laughing, and then I'm like, oh my God, are they laughing at me? And I realized that people are so busy worrying about themselves, and anyone who is going around thinking about what is she wearing, how does she even look, is sick in the head. And they should go get checked, because honestly that's a toxic thing. So when I realized that nobody is going around thinking about me, and I'm not anybody's center of the universe, it gave me a lot of freedom. Yeah, so the spotlight effect, we tend to have it, but it's important to know that nobody is going around thinking about you. So that's number one. Number two is that I started asking myself the tough questions like, what do I want to be remembered for? Do I want to be remembered as the shy girl? Do I want to be remembered as the pretty girl? Do I want to be remembered as the girl who always, like, I don't know, those small things that we are so self-conscious about. I started asking myself those questions, and I realized that I don't want to be remembered for any of that. I would care less what people say after I'm gone, like what I used to wear or how I used to look. I want to be remembered for kind acts that I did to people. I want to be remembered for how I changed someone's life, And so when you now focus your life around that, it gives you confidence that how you look, how you talk doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter. What impact are you leaving? And that's, I remind myself when we are humans, and those things will always creep up, like how do people think I look like, And so I just remind myself I have a bigger purpose than that, and that is the main thing that I'm focusing on, right? Number 3 is that I started doing things that I know that most people don't have the discipline to do. Things like waking up in the morning at around 5 and going for a run. Not so many people have the discipline to do that. And when I do it, it gives me a lot of confidence in myself that, wow, I did something that 90% of the world has not done today, And just somehow it gives me that belief that I can handle anything, And so, yeah. Other things are like reading. Not so many people are disciplined enough to pick up a book and read from start to finish, especially self-development books. And so when I do that, it gives me a lot of confidence and a boost to my belief in myself. Yeah. Number 4 is I became very intentional about keeping the promises I make to myself, because the world around me is bound to disappoint me. People around me are bound to disappoint me at some point, right? But I cannot afford to disappoint myself when the world is disappointing me, And so I became very intentional about, if I say tomorrow I'll go for a run, tomorrow I'll go for a run. If I say tomorrow, this week I'll journal the whole week, I try my best to journal the whole week. Of course, there is a level to which I show myself self-compassion, but I have come to realize that the premise of self-confidence is on keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Because if you're not keeping those promises, how can you trust anything that that anyone else has to say? How can you trust even your own abilities if you cannot keep the promises that you make to yourself? So I became so intentional about keeping the promises I make to myself. Number 5, I started taking a lot of care for my mind, my mental health, and also for my physical appearance. For example, if I'm not well dressed, I notice that I'm not confident. And when I'm looking good, I tend to be a lot more confident. And so I try my best to always look my best, so that it gives me that confidence boost. Also, when my mental health is in a bad state, I notice that I am not so confident. And so I will take my mental health very seriously, whether that means watching what I say to myself, whether that means journaling, whether that means doing physical exercises, just to take care and to nurture my mental health. So essentially, if I feel good, whether that be mentally, whether that be physically, I'm able to show up as a more confident person. And so I'm very intentional about taking care of those elements. Number 6 is that I am intentional about investing in knowledge and in skills, because when you're showing up in a certain situation, whether that maybe be career wise or just generally in life, and your thing, as in what you're talking about, you're able to be more confident. But if you don't know what you're saying, you're not even confident in what you're saying, you will start to fumble. And so I take a lot of interest in investing in my knowledge, whether that be reading books, whether that be taking extra courses. I'm intentional about boosting my knowledge and skills so that I'm confident when I'm showing up in a job interview, when I'm showing up in any type of conversation. I know what I'm saying and I'm confident and I can back it up, Yeah. Number 7 is embracing who I am and embracing my skills, and facing my insecurities. We all have our strengths and weaknesses or insecurities, and that is human nature, right? And for me to become a confident person, I realized that I have to embrace both sides of the coin. I cannot, to be honest, long ago, not so long ago actually, I was so afraid of my insecurities that I didn't want anybody to know about them. But right now, I even joke about them, because I know I'm working towards correcting them, or just if it's something that I cannot correct, accepting it as it is, and so I embraced my strengths and owning them, because sometimes we have our strengths and someone will compliment you on, maybe you have a really nice voice and you're like, oh really, as in yeah, oh that's nice, that's good. But I realized that I need to own it. Like, if someone compliments something about me, I need to own it, because that's a strength. If I have something that I believe, for example, if I'm good at public speaking, why should I be shy about it? It's important to own those things. And I have something that I call my emergency confidence boost kit, actually, where I gather all my strengths, whether that be something, maybe a recommendation from a former employer, a review from a client that I've worked with. I keep them so that anytime that I'm feeling a bit of self-doubt or lack of confidence, I'm able to access them, and they give me an instant sense of confidence. When we own our strengths, we know that these are things that I'm good at, these are things that, well, I'm not so good at, but I can improve on them. It gives you even a room for growth and, yeah, for expansion, actually, while at the same time boosting your confidence. Number 8 is that I avoid unrealistic beauty standards. And for this, I have unfollowed a lot of people on Instagram or on social media generally, because they set unrealistic beauty or success standards. And sometimes you look at that and you're like, will I ever measure up to that, if that's the standard of beauty? Or some content creators who you hear, maybe they, well, the language that people use on social media can be a bit condescending and not encouraging of self-love, and so I unfollow if I feel that someone directly impacts on my self-confidence and makes me start questioning about my beauty or where I am at in life. I will unfollow. My ninth way is sometimes faking it, I'm not always confident. There are situations when I know, for example, in an interview, yes, you are confident, but there's that sense of anxiety. And in such instances, I reach out for my emergency confidence boost kit of those strengths that I have accumulated with time, over time, my wins, my achievements, and they remind me of the person that I am. They remind me that I am a smart, confident person, and they give me an instant boost of confidence. Yeah, so sometimes you gotta fake it until you make it, but it's important to ensure that that's not what you do throughout your life. Confidence has to ooze from inside out. While you cannot tell when someone is faking it, when someone is faking confidence, it's important for your own sanity to work on building self-confidence from inside out. And as I mentioned, I think the premise of confidence is based on keeping the promises you make to yourself, doing challenging things, you know. And confidence is not something that anyone is born with. It's a skill that you learn, and it's a skill that you can improve on. And so if you are feeling right now that you're not as confident as you would want to be, you can be able to work on it, you know. You can implement the skills, the tools that I have mentioned in this video, and yeah, and others that I'm sure are outside there. Read the books, interact with other people who you see as confident, learn from them. What do they do that makes them confident, you know? Yeah, so that's all that I had for you in this video. I hope you picked something or you resonated with something that I said. And yeah, I will see you on the next one. Please remember, subscribe, comment, and like the video if you liked it. And I will see you next time.